Okay. All right, so let's look at the November transactions. I mean, December, I'm sorry. So here it goes. It's freezing again. It's going to wait until y'all get in here. You're all watching me, and it's freezing. All right, I've already got a lot of notes for it. Erase these so it's not so cluttered up looking. So what do y'all think? Does it help y'all to kind of go through and see what we're going to do with these, or would you rather just go ahead and journalize them as we go? It's not going to erase. Help you to go through them and see what we're using, what accounts we're using and stuff, or okay. Okay, y'all are my witnesses that this was erasing real easy earlier.
It was.
I don't. It's possessed. I'm not really sure. I don't think anybody's watching this, just recording. So they will and laugh. I mean, really? Why? Why? I don't understand. Large eraser. It's not any better. I give up. Because that doesn't, that's what I had. Now, well, I don't know. Now it seems to be doing better. I don't know. It's temperamental. It's moody. Apparently, it does not like me very much. What I need to do is a bunch of us up here and everybody too. Do it at the same time so we can get it all right. Come on. You can do it. Go to the first December transaction. All right. So, did we go over this one? I went over it in one class. I don't know if this is y'all. I did go over it with y'all, didn't I? So, y'all knew what to do with this one. Okay. So, you know that we are going to use prepaid insurance. It's an asset. It's increasing, and so we'll debit. And then we paid it, so it's cash. Cash is an asset. It's decreasing, which will be a credit. So y'all should already have that, right? Yeah, no, maybe not. Too close to the holiday. Y'all following on all that? Okay, because I just kind of like wrote it down, assuming that you already remembered it. I think somebody is plotting to just drive me insane. I really do. I don't understand. I don't understand why I want to race. It could be. You know, you could have something there. It's the bathroom ghost. That cracks me up that you said that about Harry Potter, because I hadn't even thought about that. And now that you say that, I'm like, yeah, it's true. You know, that doesn't freak me out. It's kind of like, just make it quick and get it over with. What? The floor tile? It's because it's old. Yeah. Isn't it blue though? If the tile's blue, at least they're blue. And it's in there. I don't even remember. At least it's not avocado. Although avocado is coming back, or bright orange. But in the 50s, it was more like pinks and blues and lighter colors. Yeah, in the 70s and the early 80s, colors were really bad. Bright orange, really bad. Brown, chocolate brown. All right, so on the second one, Net Solutions paid rent. So we had the paid. We have the paid and we have rent. So we know we've got cash because we've got the paid. Cash is an asset. It's decreasing, so we'll credit. And then we had rent expense. It's an expense, so it is increasing. We will debit. Y'all should already have this. At least I can laugh at myself. If I can just keep laughing about it, I won't go crazy. All right. On the third one, we talked about how they were renting that lot. See, things are just coming up like strangely. I'm not even touching it. Third one, they're renting that lot to a local retailer. And so because it's not been earned yet, we've got our cash. They collected all the rent up front. So our cash is increasing for that $360. But since they haven't earned this rent yet, we're putting it in a liability account called unearned rent. Liability, it's increasing, so we'll credit. Okay. Y'all good there? If not, stop me.
Unearned what?
Rent. Unearned rent is a specific unearned revenue account. Now, once December passes, actually every day that passes, they're earning a day of revenue. But we're not going to do anything with that because that's too tedious. We'll wait to the end of the month and we'll show that a whole month has passed and so they've earned a whole month's worth of rent. But that'll come in another chapter. All right. On this fourth, they purchased equipment. Yeah, this just nailed it. Stay here. Once I get disgusted and give up, it'll come off. They purchased office equipment on account. So we've got a purchase and we've got on account. So what is on account telling you? Accounts payable. And why would it be payables and not receivables? Right. Okay, so we've got accounts payable. It's one of our accounts. Okay, this is like yesterday. And this is not the same software. What is the deal? Okay, we got accounts payable. I'm gonna need medication after this. All right, accounts payable. Is it increasing or decreasing? It's increasing. What kind of account is accounts payable? ALORE, that group. Liability? All right, I'm gonna start abbreviating so it doesn't take up so much space. So are we gonna debit or credit a liability to increase it? Credit. Okay, so we are purchasing something on an account. What do we purchase? Okay, so we purchased office equipment. So what type of account is office equipment? It's an asset. Why?
It's like supplies.
Yeah, it is like supplies, and truly, I mean, more so than you might realize, it's something that's going to last a while. We're not going to use it all up at one time. You know, we're going to wear it. It's going to have wear and tear on it, but we're not going to, you know, completely wear it out the first time we use it. And honestly, assets like that are prepaid expenses because you're going to use them over time. So, good call on that. All right, so it's an asset. Are we increasing it or decreasing it? Okay, so that would be a what? Debit or credit? Debit. All right, on the next one, net solutions paid. So you got paid here. It's gonna be one of those days again, people, I can tell. It's coming. You know what it is. The new president's gonna come over here and see us all today in this building. I'm just getting primed just to be, my hair is gonna be all standing up. I have no makeup left on from rubbing my face. All right, so paid, the new college president. Net solutions paid, so that tells you what? Cash, and what are they paying for? Okay. All right, because I know ahead in this problem, I'm gonna tell you we're gonna use miscellaneous expense. If you were just making entries and not moving to the next step that we're gonna do, you could put advertising expense and I'm not gonna count it off, okay? But you'll understand this more in a minute. All right, so we've got miscellaneous expense that we're gonna use on this one. And what else? Cash? All right, so we know cash is an asset. Is it increasing or decreasing? So credit or debit? Okay. What about miscellaneous expense? What is it? It's an expense. Oops. Increasing or decreasing?
Increasing.
Increasing. So is that a debit or credit? That's a debit. And y'all remember, if you're wondering how the heck do they know all this, y'all remember that chart on, what is it, page 2? I don't understand why this thing is not working. This kind of stuff will just drive me batty because I'm too obsessive about this kind of stuff. I just want it to go away. Just make it clean. Erase. There we go. Trying to get all this clutter off of here so y'all can see what's going on. My hand is cold. Can you press that? Surely that's not it. It's got to be a touch thing, not a heat. Sometimes my hands are cold, like if, you know, the pulse rate monitors on machines and stuff, they won't take my pulse because my hands are cold. That can't be it. This is just touch. All right, so next one. On the 11th, Net Solutions paid creditors $400. So what account do you think we're using?
Cash and accounts payable.
Cash and accounts payable. Why is it accounts payable?
Because you're decreasing accounts payable.
How do you know? But how do you know that? What's cluing you off? What's tipping you off that it's accounts payable?
Creditor.
Creditor.
And you're giving them cash.
Yes. Okay. So we've got cash. We've got accounts payable. All right. So is our cash is an asset. We've said that 100 times. Is it increasing or decreasing?
Decreasing.
It's decreasing. Is it a debit or credit then?
Credit.
It's a credit. Okay. What about accounts payable? There's the ghost. What now? It's increasing. And it's a liability. So are we in a debit or credit?
That's decreasing, but it is a debit.
Oh, is it decreasing? Thank you. I was distracted by the noise in the hall. So it'll be a debit. And there again, if you can get half of it, and you can figure out what count you're using, you can get the other half. It's like, I messed that up. But if I had gone to journalize this and I had 2 credits, I would have realized I'd done something wrong. Are y'all following what I'm saying? I know this is horribly distracting. It is to me. Anyway, so we've got a credit to cash and a debit to accounts payable. All right, so on the 13th, we've got Net Solutions paying the receptionist and a part-time assistant. So we've got the paid, and then we've got wages mentioned. So what are we using on this one?
Wages expense.
Wages expense. And that's an expense, obviously. Is it increasing or decreasing?
Decreasing.
Is that a debit or a credit?
Debit.
Okay. Well, what else are we using on here? What are we going to credit?
Cash.
Cash, because it says paid. Cash is an asset. It's decreasing. That will be your credit. Cash is going to be probably the easiest one for you to figure out every time that we have cash. And if you can figure out cash and you at least know what the other side of it is, you know you got to have a debit, you know you got to have a credit because they've got to equal. You've got to balance the entry. So process of elimination, a lot of times if you're lost on something, you can kind of figure it out until you get the hang of it. All right, on the 16th, we have got Net Solutions receiving money from fees earned. So how will we show that? What will we debit?
Cash.
Okay, we're going to debit cash because it's an asset and it's increasing. So what's the other part of the entry?
Fees earned.
We've got fees earned. Huh?
Which is revenue.
It's revenue. And it's increasing, so we'll credit. Y'all following? Who's not following? If you're lost, don't sit there and not say anything. You getting it? I can't tell. I can't always read y'all. Maybe thinking something else. Again, don't forget about that page 2 or whatever it was. I don't remember where that chart is. Yeah, page 2. If you're wondering, you know, refer back to it if you need. I was supposed to make you a copy of that one. I got a lot done over the holiday, but I did not get that done. 16th, net solutions earned fees on account. So you've got earned fees on account. So what are we going to use on that one? Yep, we'll have fees earned. Because they're telling us they earn fees, so we have fees earned. We have accounts receivable because it is on account and it's customers that are paying, or earning fees and accounts receivable goes together. Purchasing and accounts payable go together, or expenses and accounts payable. So is accounts receivable increasing or decreasing? Increasing. What kind of account is accounts receivable? It's an asset. So are we debiting or crediting? And then fees earned, we know from the previous problem, is a revenue. It's increasing, so we'll credit. Okay. Net Solutions paid $900 to Executive Supply Company on the $1,800 rather, charged on December 4th. So they're making a payment. So they paid $900. Okay, so what do we do on the 4th? They purchased this office equipment and we purchased it on account. So they debited office equipment for $1,800, credited accounts payable. Well, now they're going to pay on that. They're not paying it all, but they're paying some of it. So what accounts will we use? We got paid. So that tells you, what does paid tell you? Cash. All right, cash is an asset. Is it increasing or decreasing? Is that a debit or credit? Huh? All right, and then the other part of that is going to be accounts payable. You can always go back to the 4th and see what we're paying on that. So we've got accounts payable. It's a liability. We're decreasing it. It'll be a debit. Okay. Net Solutions received $650 from customers paying on their accounts. Tell me which ones it is. Same poor girl back there saying all the answers too. You two back there in the back. Y'all just like giving all the answers. What is it, Ryan? What does received $650 tell you? Cash. You got cash. Somebody give you $650. I wish somebody give me some. Is it increasing or decreasing your cash?
Increase.
It's increasing. Your cash is an asset, and so you'll debit. Okay, so what will be the other side of that?
Accounts receivable.
Accounts receivable. Is it increasing or decreasing?
Decreasing.
It's decreasing. And it's an asset, so we'll credit. Okay. Net Solutions, oh, you're saying you're giving answers. Net Solutions purchase supplies. So they purchased, and it's not saying anything about on account, so all we have to do, we can only assume it's cash. Pardon? What you got here? Can you see it?
Yeah.
That screen in your way? What are we getting?
Supplies.
Okay, so there's part of it. And since it's not on account,
Supplies. Cash.
cash. All right, so what kind of account is supplies?
It's an asset.
It's an asset. Is it increasing or decreasing?
Increasing.
It's increasing, so we'll do what?
Debit.
Debit. See, look, and I thought y'all were lost. Will, what's happening with cash?
It's decrease. It's credit.
Okay. I know he knew. He knew it before. He sat there like a sponge and took it all up and just kind of chilled. Net Solutions paid the receptionist, so we got paid again. And then this is the same thing we had before. You can look back up and see what you've done on that one. So we've got wages expense as a debit and cash as a credit. All right, so what about these expenses? Telephone and electric. We've got a utilities expense in their chart of accounts. I know this just because I know the next part and you don't. So we'll use utilities expense on this. So I just told you that part.
You just put them together.
Yeah. And then what is paid telling you? Gosh. Yeah, since we don't have a separate telephone and electric account, you could combine them on this one. Now, if you did have separate accounts, you'd have to use each one. All right, so utilities is an expense. Are we increasing it or decreasing it?
Increasing.
And so that's a debit for the expenses. And cash would be an asset. It's decreasing, we'll credit. All right, on the 31st, Net Solutions received money from fees earned. It doesn't say anything about account. Anybody paying on account, getting services on account. It says cash and fees earned in the same sentence. So if you got cash and fees earned, then you know it's cash and fees earned. Like that pretty much tells you what the entry is right there. If it was customers paying down their accounts receivable, it would say customers paying on account. Received cash for customers paying on account, like this one right here. You kind of got a little bit of everything in this one problem. Asset, they're receiving it, it's increasing, we'll say it's a debit. And fees earned is revenue, it's increasing, it'll be your credit. All right, fees earned on account. So this time we've got on account, 1120. And y'all don't worry so much about this first half of December, second half of December. I mean, in a normal business, they're going to be doing this all along, not waiting until the second half of the month. But this is just for simplicity. So if they've got fees earned on account, what are we using? We got fees earned.
Accounts receivable.
Accounts receivable. ARs, accounts receivable, APs, accounts payable. I don't know if I told y'all that or not. You see me abbreviating. Accounts receivable is increasing, will debit. Fees earned is revenue, it's increasing, but you increase it with a credit. Y'all good with that? Chris Clark withdrew $2,000 for personal use. So we've got withdrawal, we've got money. So what are we using there?
Cash and Chris Clark drawing.
Yep, cash and Chris Clark drawing. Asset, decreasing credit. This is just drawing. It's increasing, it'll be a debit. Handwriting is terrible. I cannot write cursive on this thing. And you can't erase apparently either, so. All right, y'all good with that? We're gonna move on and do the journal entries for December. So come on down. Where is it? To the journal entry pages. All right, so go ahead and put 1 on that page. Go ahead and give your journal pages page numbers. You'll need this in a minute. Did y'all skip spaces or no? You don't have to skip spaces, and I will probably end up on page 2 before you will because I did. So don't worry about that. It's not a big deal. All right, so let's journalize these. Okay, so we're going to have to put the month here because we're changing months. All you have to write is December, though. You don't have to put the year again. We've got the year at the top. So we'll say December 1. And we're going to debit prepaid insurance. Is this print big enough? Or do you need the fat print? Can y'all read that? Is the fat print better? Prepaid insurance, $2,400, and cash, $2,400. We're just going off of that work we just did. All right, paying rent, $800. We're just going to use the first again, rent expense, cash, 800, 800. And then the third entry on the first, we've got cash. This is where they collected that money up front for that lot rent, but they haven't earned it yet. So we're going to put it in unearned rent. Y'all got so far? Y'all seeing where all this is coming from, all that we just did. I don't want to like simplify it, like treat y'all like kindergartners, but I don't want to zoom past you either. So, all right, on the fourth, we've got purchasing office equipment on account. So we're going to debit office equipment. We're going to credit accounts payable. For $1,800. I did tell you I don't use change on these. Just use whole numbers. All right. Y'all got this on the roll. Yep. All right. I'm moving to the next page. If you're not there yet, that's okay. So since I'm on the beginning of another page, I'm going to write so whenever you get to that page, you write that. All right, Net Solutions paid $180 for a newspaper ad, and I told y'all that there is no advertising listed on this book, on this company's chart of accounts, so we're going to use miscellaneous here. And cash. And it was 180, I think. It's all right. All right, then on the 6th, no, that was the 6th, 11th, we've got paying creditors. So we'll debit accounts payable, credit cash, $400. Net Solutions paid the receptionist and part-time assistant. We've got wages expense on the 13th. And cash. $950. Received $3,100 from fees earned. So we've got cash. We've got fees earned. $3,100. All right, again on the 16th, they earn fees on account. So we're going to debit accounts receivable this time. You remember me telling y'all how fees earned could be one of two ways, on account or cash received. So they're giving you, essentially giving you an example of each on here. So you can see how it looks. On the 20th, they paid for $900 on that charge for that equipment. When I say charge, I mean they bought it on account. So we're going to debit accounts payable. We're going to credit cash. $900. Then on the 21st, we've got receiving $650 from customers paying on account. So we'll debit cash, credit accounts receivable. Or $650. Then they purchase supplies, $14.50. We assumed it was cash because they didn't say otherwise. Paid the receptionist and assistant again. This time it was $1,200. $31st, we had utilities expense. How much is my total of utilities?
535.
All right, and then received fees again. So it's $28.70. $28.70. Fees on account. Getting redundant now. $11.20. And then you withdrew $2,000 for personal use. Okay. All good. Is it clear? All right, so the next part of the process we go through, there's some fill in the blanks on 10, but honestly, I mean, y'all let me know when you're through writing this. Y'all through writing down? On page 10, a transaction is first recorded in a journal. We've been doing that. The next thing you do is you transfer those journal entries that we've made to a ledger. And those T accounts that we used, those were kind of like a simplified ledger. So you need to know this part. Well, you need to know all of it, but the process of taking those journal entries and putting that activity into the ledgers is called posting. So like they're saying, in practice, that T account is replaced with what's called a general ledger account. And that's what you're going to see in these next pages. We're doing the same thing as taking each line of each entry and just organizing them into the category they go in, sorting them out, like sorting your clothes. And as we're going through this process, we're going to go line by line through our journal and post it line by line. So they're going to appear in the ledgers in the order that in the correct order, the order they happen. Then the rest of this is just kind of procedure. what you're gonna do. We're gonna put the date in, we'll put the debit, the credit, blah, 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 but you'll see that as we do. It's gonna make more sense. We've already talked about this, but for some reason I decided to add it there again. Step 3, make sure you have page written down. Okay, so posting journal entries. We're gonna take these entries we just made for November, December, and we're gonna put these in our ledger accounts if they show up. There we go. All right, so this is what it looks like. We're gonna have one of these ledger accounts for each account. So you've got one for cash, you've got one for accounts receivable, you've got one for supplies, and so on. So the first thing we'll enter is the date. You're not gonna use item right now. And then we'll post the activity, but to me, the easiest way is just to do it. So let's go back to your November entries. Where are they? I wonder how much.
Order by date.
I wonder how much time we lose because it's some crazy stuff. What?
These are going to be done in order by date.
Yeah. So what you're going to do? We're going to start with the very first entry. The first line of this first entry on November 1st is a debit to cash for $25,000. So we'll go to our cash ledger page, which is on page 11. Okay, so kind of like on the journal, you're going to put the year on this first line of each general ledger page or account. It's 2019 November, and it was on the 1st. We had a debit of $25,000. Okay, important to note, these first two columns this is where you're going to post your activity, your journal entry. This over here is your balance. So you remember us getting balances in those T accounts. We're going to keep a running balance over here. So if we have no activity in cash except for that debit, what is our balance in cash at this point? So $25,000 debit. Now, if we were to post a $5,000 credit, what would we have now? We have a $20,000 debit. You're just going to keep subtracting. One tendency that I see a lot is for whatever you write here, you bring over here, whether it's a debit or a credit. That's not the purpose of these two columns. We're keeping it with a running balance. So you're going to take 25, whatever happens next. If it's a debit, you'll add it and increase this 25 to whatever's next. It's kind of like your checking account. All right, so every time you post something to an account, make note of the account number. Oh, sorry, skipped a step. Posting reference. This is your journal entry page, your journal page rather, number. So what page number did that come from?
Yeah.
It came from page 1. Think of this like a trail of crumbs or, trail of orange tags in the woods. You're saying, okay, well, this came from here. And when you go back to your journal page, you're going to put 11 next to the entry we just posted, cash, because that's the cash ledger number. So what that's telling you is I posted this journal entry to my number 11 ledger. And when you get to the ledger, you can say, okay, that entry came from journal page 1. All right, so the next line, Chris Clark Capital, credit $25,000. So go back to your general ledger, find Chris Clark Capital. And they're going to be in order like they would be in the chart of accounts, ALORE. All right, so here he is. All right, so again, we got to write the 2019, the November 1. What page number did it come from in the journal? Page 1. This is a credit, so we'll post our credit here. Now, what's my balance in capital at this point? We've only had one entry, so what is it?
$25,000.
So $25,000 credit. Okay, so the account number for capital is 31. We'll go back to our journal and put 31 by that entry. So it's not hard. It's just a process. Y'all see what we're doing? So really, you could do this on your own? Maybe. Because this will be your homework. Is to post the rest of these transactions because we're not really ready for the next part of your what's in engage yet. Y'all had the homework assignment where you did journal entry, right? Okay. So what I want you to do is to go through and post the rest of these entries, November and December, and I'll put an assignment out there with the, telling you, what I want you to do, because I'm going to walk around and check it. That'll be your grade. Complete or incomplete, if it's not, I'm not going to check you for accuracy. If you miss something or do something wrong, I'm not going to take the time to count off points because you posted something in the wrong place, and we'll go over it. But I'd rather you go ahead and do it because I need you to practice it and be sure you are familiar with it and comfortable with it. Oh, we got till 50, didn't we? Oh. I was about to let y'all go. Let's just do a couple more so you're comfortable with it. Dang, sorry. All right, land on the 5th, debit 20 grand. Almost had me. I let another class go 15 minutes early the first week because I was so messed up, huh?
That was us.
Was that y'all?
Yeah.
I'll let y'all go 15 minutes?
No, it was the class that I had gone. It was the Monday class. I had gone on that and realized how early.
I was thinking it was an hour and 15-minute class. All right, so we bought land on the 5th. So find land. Okay, 2019, November 5. The entry came from page 1. We debited land 20,000. My balance is now 20,000 in land. And we paid cash for it. So we'll do that in a second. Remember your 17. We've got to go back to that entry and put the 17. Okay, and I know there's this strong temptation to just go, oh, I'm just going to post all of my cash transactions first. Don't do that. Go line by line because you're going to forget something and then something's going to get screwed up. I've seen it a million times. By the time I get back to land, I have forgotten the number. Is it 17? Okay, and we have a credit to cash for 20. So let's go to cash. This is kind of what I want to at least have 2 entries in one of these accounts where you can see this balance thing. All right, so on the 5th, we have a credit to cash for purchasing this land. So now, what is my balance in cash? Don't move this 20 over here. That's not how that works. Huh? 5,000. So see, now my balance is 5,000. I've had some people like put the 20 over here and then put the balance out to the side. You're just repeating yourself. This is the activity. This is your balance. So just subtract it. If you have a debit and then a credit, just remember how you did your T accounts. If you get completely lost and confused, either send me a message or just do the best you can until Friday. We'll figure it out. All right, account number 11. This came from page 1. Leave your trail of crumbs. Who's a hunter? Y'all like leave things in the woods sometimes, or do you just not get lost? Yeah, that would not be me. I would be the one that needed the tags. Well, what if you're somewhere you've never been before? Still, I'm not going into the woods without my spouse. He can do that, and he can like track lizards and crap. I mean,
My grandfather was tearful.
that's because he's older like me, but you need help. All right, y'all got the general idea here? Okay. I'm not going camping. I'm not going hunting. I'm not going into the woods. I'm not doing any of that stuff without my husband. Because he's like, he could live off the land for the rest of his life. Survivalist. Tracking critters. He tracks people. He tracks he can track a lizard. He tracked a lizard one time. It just kills me. It's like, why? I've got things to do in the house. You go track the bears, you track bears and dogs. The people think it's interesting. So, okay, fine. That's why I said breadcrumbs. Did y'all ever, Hansel and Gretel, did y'all ever read that story when you were little? Do you remember it? They left a trail of breadcrumbs so they could find their way home.
Didn't they get eaten?
The witch ate them, I think.
Yeah.
When she
So I
cooked
didn't
them.
really
Isn't
like that.
that kind of weird that the kids' stories are kind of violent like that?
Mhm. Like Little Red Riding Hood.
Yes. All right, y'all have a good one. Y'all do the rest of this for homework, and we will move on Friday. We'll go over it and then move on. I'm gonna have to hang a little schedule above my clock that says 9 to 50.
Old school tables like that were designed, like, written to be really dark, because there's no way to start them.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Back then.
No, and I never thought of it that way.
No, I mean, like the old fables, like a lot of the, like, and it's like, everything that Disney has Disney-fied
Yeah.
used to be really dark
They
because it
really
was
did
supposed
this back in the house.
I was supposed to scare them
because it
not
was
running off.
written to be terrifying for children.
to
So
not.
they wouldn't, like Hansel and Gretel, don't interact with strangers.
Yeah, right. It makes sense.
That was German, wasn't it?
I don't
Yes.
even know how to race them.
I mean, yeah, and like there's different countries, but at the end of the day, they were all written with various messages in mind.
Oh my gosh, I was gonna bring our economics teacher those newspaper comics, and they're really in my class. I feel really bad now.
What were you gonna do?
Mr. Clark.
Yeah, he was talking about
This is
how
the
he
problem.
doesn't get the Clarion Ledger anymore and how he likes the comics. And my grandmother gets the Clarion Ledger and she never knows what to do with them. So I have like a stack.
Did she
of
read them?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they recycle, so there's no point in them keeping them. And I was like, I got teacher points right there.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I'm
he
taking
loved
it.
that. My dad reads them for the comics and he
I
does
like
the
it
crossword puzzles. I don't think he even reads the.
I don't do the crossword puzzles. I'm too stupid for that. But like, I could not understand those. I'm like, what?
It's good for your it's good for your thought process. It helps your mind work. It taxes your brain. Supposedly.
Sudoku.
So that's probably what I need to be doing. Okay, that's what's going on. This stupid syncing is what's causing it. Maybe I need to stop that.
And just share it.
Oh, I need to stop sharing too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you should